Ladies and gentlemen, I believe we are live. Turn my thing up here. Wait till one or two folks get in here. Tonight's a double feature. I am running a hair late, I think. Or maybe I said I was coming on at 9. Hell, I don't remember. But, you know, it is what it is. Um, who knows? I hope everything is working correctly. You never know. You never know. You never know. With this thing. Um, I hope somebody comes in and gives me an audio check real quick. Make sure that everything sounds good before I start getting going. Um, I hate to start and stop. Uh, Maybe. Hopefully you can hear me. Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me? It's your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. YouTube can't be this big. There's no way. Well, I think it might be working. Hopefully somebody can hear me, and then we can get to the stories and so forth. I don't know. Maybe. Oh well. Anyway, tonight we're going to begin with the thing beneath the summer. As with always, there's support links in the description. Um, PayPal, uh, whatever's in there, Cash App, and everything else. There is links to the other channels. I'm slowly updating them as we go. It's trying to get everything stuck in there. Howdy, howdy, Bardo. Do I sound okay? No weird stuff going on with audio. I just want to make sure. Um, um, let's see what else. Tonight's a double feature. Hell, I don't know. I'm not trying to thought. Anyway. Oh, well, that's good. YouTube streaming health, excellent. I wish you guys could see all the stuff that I see. Maybe one day I'll like flip the screen and let you guys see all this crazy stuff that pops up when I'm doing a stream. It's wild. I mean, it is, and I mean, like, if you watch it when you're doing this stuff, you're like, oh my God, something's wrong with it, and there's nothing wrong with it, and it's it's like you're you're on like a spaceship, and you see all these weird things pop up and everything else, and you're wondering, oh my God, I've messed up, I'm going to crash. And when you do these live readings like this, you get like super scared in the back of your mind, like, okay, I get halfway through a story and then something happens to the stream and you got to start over or whatever. But anyway, like normal, we have there'll be the auto reader versions in the other part of the video, I guess regular long form video, the live version and everything. Like I said, it takes a little more time, but I don't know. I've gotten where I got a rhythm done now, so bump up notch or two. Let's see. How's that? That might be a little too much. Maybe not. I don't know. All right, what about that? That might be too much. Hopefully it's fine. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And that, yeah, that might be good. Cool. All right. Yeah, I don't want to blow you guys' eardrums out. I mean, I barely got it. It's barely pegging over here. Uh, and I'm sure I still don't have stuff done on here like I should, but it is what it is. Um, okay, I guess now is the best time any. We'll get started on this, and then we'll progress. And if you guys want to talk later, we can. Or talk as I'm doing it. That's fine too. I try to watch as I go. Okay, let's see. It lives in the sand. Okay, this is one of those creepy things. If you have children, you always worry about them when they go to the playgrounds. I always worry about my kids when they go to the beach. Yeah, sometimes barely pegging. Yeah, that's what she said. Yeah. But anyway, here we go. The first person disappeared on a second Saturday of summer break. Nobody saw it happen. That was the part the town remembered afterward. There were dozens of people on the beach that morning. Families under umbrellas, teenagers playing volleyball, little kids building castles near the water, parents sitting in folding chairs, complaining about the heat. And somewhere between the parking lot and the ocean, a 16-year-old boy named Tyler Mason stepped onto the sand and was gone. His mother was talking to him when it happened. 1 second, Tyler was there. The next, the sand beneath his feet collapsed inward with a soft, wet sound. He dropped to his knees. His mother laughed at first. She thought he had fallen. Then Tyler screamed, not loudly. Not the way someone screams when they're fighting. It was a short, strangled sound, like something had grabbed him around the waist and squeezed the air out of his lungs. His mother lunged forward. Tyler's fingers clawed at the sand. She grabbed his wrist. For 3 seconds she held him. And then something underneath the beach pulled hard. Tyler's mother fell forward. People began screaming. She refused to let go. And then Tyler's fingers slipped from hers, and the sand closed over him. Not like a hole. Like water, smooth, level, almost untouched. By the time the lifeguards arrived, there was nothing to find. No tunnel, no footprints, no blood, nothing. Just a single sneaker laying on a beach. The town called it an accident. Then another person disappeared, and then another. And by the time July ended, everyone knew the truth. The beach was hungry. Chapter 1. The first thing Noah noticed was the sand was moving. Not much, just enough. He was laying on his stomach at the top of the playground side, staring down at the beach. Below him, the plastic equipment formed a strange little island in the middle of the sand. 2 slides, 3 swings, a climbing wall, a set of monkey bars. A plastic tunnel, a small wooden platform with a roof. Normally, it was where kids came to play, while their parents sat nearby. Today it was a fortress. Noah stared at the sand beyond it. Guys! Nobody answered. Guys! Maya looked over. What? The sand. She rolled her eyes. What's about it? It's moving, he said. Maya sighed. You've been saying that for 20 minutes. I'm serious. So am I. She pointed toward the parking lot. We're supposed to get to the pavement. Noah looked. The pavement was maybe 40 yards away. 40 yards. It should have been nothing. They could have walked it in less than a minute, except the sand between them and the parking lot was empty. Completely empty. There was no beach towels, no umbrellas, no people, no footprints. And most importantly, no one was walking on it. The beach had been packed up 2 hours ago. Now everyone was gone. Noah swallowed. Where did everybody go? Maya didn't answer. Behind him, Clab was crying. He was only 11. He had been trying not to cry since they climbed onto the playground. Now he wasn't trying anymore. We have to get off, he said. No, Noah said. Clav looked at him. My mom is out there. I know, and I need to find her. We can't. Why? Noah pointed. Clav looked. At first he didn't understand. Then he saw it, a beach towel, red with white stripes. It was lying 20 feet away. Something beneath it moved. The towel slowly rose. Not much. Just an inch. Then another. Clav stopped crying. What is that? Nobody answered. The towel sank. It rose again. The circular depression appeared beneath it. The sand around the towel began sliding inward. Maya whispered, "Oh my God." Noah grabbed the metal railing. "Don't move." The thing beneath the towel stopped. And for several seconds, nothing happened. Then, something pushed upward. A hand emerged from the sand. Clav screamed. The hand was pale, human-looking, but the fingers were too long. The joints bent the wrong ways. It clawed at the towel, and then disappeared. The sand flattened. Silence returned. Noah stared. "We're not getting off of this thing." Maya shook her head. "Yes, we are." "How?" "The pavement. It's too far. We can't make it. Touch the sand and we're dead." Maya looked toward the parking lot. "Then we don't touch it." Chapter 2. They began planning. That was what Noah liked about Maya. When she was scared, she didn't freeze. She calculated. The playground stood roughly in the middle of the beach. The nearest pavement was behind a concession building. The concrete sidewalk ran from the parking lot to the public restrooms. If they could reach the sidewalk, they would be safe. At least, they hoped they would. They didn't know. Noah had noticed something. The thing in the sand never came over the pavement or onto the pavement. It stayed beneath the beach. It moved where the sand was deep. It couldn't cross concrete. That was their only advantage. Maya climbed down from the slide platform and examined the playground. "We can use the equipment." Noah frowned. "What?" "The bars," she pointed. "The monkey bars go almost all the way to the swings. So, we can swing from one another. Then what? The climbing wall. Then the roof?" "The roof doesn't reach the sidewalk, no." Maya pointed at the lifeguard tower. The tower was about 20 feet away. Its wooden supports stood partially over the sand, but its ladders reached near to the playground. "We get to the lifeguard tower." Noah stared at it, and then he saw the second tower, and the third. A chain of elevated platforms, a route, not easy but possible. Maya looked at the others. "We don't touch the ground." Clav nodded. A girl named Sophie was shaking so badly her teeth were clicking. "How do we know if it can't get us up here?" "We don't," Maya said. That was not the answer Sophia wanted, but it was honest. They started moving. Noah went first. He climbed onto the monkey bars. His hand slipped on the hot metal. He swung forward, one bar, then another, then another. Below him, the sand remained still. He reached the end. Maya followed. Then Sophie. Clav was next. Halfway across, Clav froze. "Keep going," Noah said. "I can't." "Clav, something's under me." Everyone stopped. He looked down. The sand beneath the monkey bars was moving. A small mound formed directly beneath him. Then another and another. Something was following him. Noah whispered, "Keep moving." Clav grabbed the next bar. The mound followed. "Keep moving." He swung. The mound surged forward. Clav screamed. Something struck the underside of the metal. The entire playground shook. Sophie lost her grip. Her foot dropped. For one horrible second, her sneaker touched the sand. Nothing happened. She pulled herself up. Go, Noah screamed. Then moved faster. The mound disappeared. For several seconds there was nothing. Then a voice came from beneath the sand. Help me. Everyone stopped. Clab looked down. His face went white. It was his mother's voice. Clab. He began crying. Mom? The sand beneath him whispered again. Clab, honey? Maya grabbed his arm. Don't answer. But that's my mom. No, that's not her. No, it is. It isn't. The voice came again. Clab, this time there was something wrong with it. The syllables stretched. The voice seemed to come from everywhere beneath the beach. Like the beach was acting as a speaker. Clab. Noah looked toward the parking lot. The shape was moving under the sand. Fast. Very fast. Run! They scrambled across the playground. Behind them, the sand erupted. Something enormous slammed upward beneath the swings. The metal poles bent. The chain snapped. One swing flew into the air. And underneath it, for one brief second, Noah saw an eye. An enormous, black, wet, and completely lidless eye. Chapter 3. They made it to the lifeguard tower. Just barely. Noah climbed the ladder first. Maya shoved Sophie upward. Clab followed. The thing beneath the sand chased them the entire way. The beach looked alive. The sand rippled in long waves. Umbrellas collapsed. Beach chairs disappeared. Coolers sank. Anything touching the ground was dragged beneath it. The lifeguard tower shook as they climbed. Noah reached the top. He pulled himself onto the wooden platform. Maya came next, then Sophie, then Clab. They collapsed together. Nobody spoke. The beach below them was silent. The sand had stopped moving. Noah looked toward the ocean. The water was strangely calm. Too calm. There was no waves. Then a body washed ashore. A woman. Noah jumped up. Mom! Clab screamed. He tried to climb down. Maya grabbed him. Wait, it's my mom. The woman lay motionless near the waterline. Clab fought her. Let me go. Let me. Look at her. Clab stopped. The woman slowly sat up. Her head tilted. Her hair hung over her face. And then she stood. Clab stopped breathing. Mom, the woman lifted her head. It wasn't his mother. It wasn't anyone. Her face was smooth, featureless. No eyes, no nose. Just pale skin. She took one step into the sand. The sand beneath her feet opened. She fell straight through. Gone. Sophie whispered, What is that? Noah stared at the ocean. I don't think the beach is where it lives. Maya looked at him. What? Noah pointed at the water. Something enormous was moving beneath it. A shadow passed under the surface. Then another, and another. Noah suddenly understood. The beach isn't the animal. Maya stared at him. It's the mouth. Chapter 4. They spent the next hours trapped on the tower. The sun moved lower. The beach became orange. Nobody came. No rescue trucks. No police. No parents. No lifeguards. Nothing. The town had abandoned the beach. Or perhaps, Noah thought, the town had already been eaten. And then they heard an engine. A truck appeared on the pavement. It stopped near the parking lot. A man got out and looked toward the beach. Then he looked at them and began shouting, Stay where you are. Noah almost laughed. We weren't planning on going anywhere. The man ran toward the playground and stopped. His boots touched the sand. The man froze. Noah screamed, Get back. The man looked down, and a tiny circle appeared around his feet. Then another. His boots sunk. He tried to pull away, and the sand grabbed him. He fell backward, and the man's hand slammed into the ground. Help, he screamed. Noah watched helpless. The sand began swallowing him. First his legs, then his waist, then his chest. The man screamed, and then he smiled. Noah stared. The man looked directly at him, his mouth open, but the voices that came out wasn't his. It was hundreds of voices. Children, adults, old people, men, women, all speaking together. Come down. Maya covered her ears. The thing pulled him under. The beach went quiet, and Noah looked at the pavement. It was only 20 yards away. 20 yards. They needed to cross it without touching the sand. Maya looked around, and then she saw a lifeguard's rescue board. It was strapped to the tower. She smiled. I have an idea. Chapter 5. The rescue board became a bridge. They tied it to a length of rope. They used the tower as an anchor, and then they swung the board outward. It landed on the roof of the playground. They climbed across, and from there they reached the top of the concession building, then the picnic shelter, then the wooden fence. Every step brought them closer. The pavement was less than 10 yards away, and they could see the painted parking lines. They could see cars. They could see safety. Maya went first. Noah followed. Sophie came next. Lab was last. They were almost there. Almost. Then the fence broke. The board beneath Sophie snapped. She fell. Her hands caught the edge. Her feet dangled above the sand. Maya. Maya grabbed her. Noah grabbed Maya. Slab grabbed Noah. And for several seconds they held. Then the sand moved. A ripple traveled beneath them. Sophie looked down. Something was waiting. She began crying. Don't let me go. We won't. I can feel it. What? Something is touching my foot. Noah looked. A pale finger had wrapped around her ankle. He kicked it. It disappeared. Then another finger appeared. Then another. Then dozens. Sophie screamed. Maya pulled. Noah pulled. The sand erupted. A black mouth opened up beneath Sophie. Not a mouth like an animal. A circular opening filled with hundreds of tiny teeth. Sophie slipped. Noah caught her wrist. For 1 second he held her. And then her other hand slipped. She looked at him. Don't let me go, she pleaded. I won't. The thing pulled. Noah screamed. Maya screamed. Sophie screamed. Noah's grip broke. Sophie fell, and she disappeared into the sand. But her hand remained above the surface. Noah reached. He grabbed at it. And for a moment he thought he had her. Then something below pulled again, and Sophie vanished. Her fingers slipped from his. The beach became still, and Noah stared. His hands trembled. Maya pulled him toward the pavement. We have to go. He didn't move. Noah, she screamed. He looked at her and behind Mia. Clad was standing on the pavement, safe. Noah stepped forward. His feet touched concrete. He was safe. Maya followed. Then she collapsed. Noah looked back. The beach was empty, completely empty. But beneath the sand, something was moving toward them. A long ridge traveled beneath the surface. It stopped at the edge of the pavement. The sand bulged. Something pushed upward. A hand emerged. Then another. Then a face. Sophie! Noah screamed. She was buried up to her neck. Her eyes were wide. Her mouth moved. Help me! Maya stared. Noah took a step forward. Clab grabbed him. No, she's alive. No! She's right there. Noah! Sophie smiled. Her mouth opened too wide. Something moved inside her throat. Her jaw split. The sound that came out wasn't human. It was ocean. A deep, enormous roar. The beach erupted. Sand shot into the air. The playground disappeared. The lifeguard tower vanished. The concession stand collapsed. The entire beach seemed to sink. And beneath it, something enormous woke. The ocean pulled backward. Hundreds of feet of water vanished toward the horizon. And for the first time, Noah saw what was hiding beneath the waves. A shape larger than the beach itself. Something ancient, something black. Something covered in pale human hands. It rose from the water. The thing looked toward them. Noah realized it had no eyes. It didn't need them. It could feel every heartbeat on the shore, every footstep, every person, every living thing. And then the ocean came back. The waves swallowed the beach, the town, the road, everything. 3 months later, the beach was reopened. The official report called it a freak geological event, a sinkhole, a sudden underwater collapse, an unusual tidal surge. The missing people were presumed dead. No bodies were recovered. The playground was never rebuilt. A fence was installed around the beach, and then another fence, and then a concrete wall. Eventually, people stopped talking about what happened. But Noah remembered. He remembered everything. He remembered the voices, the hands, the thing beneath the sand, and most of all, he remembered Sophie. Because 6 weeks after the disaster, Noah received a text message. There was no number attached, just a blank sender. The message contained 3 words. I'm still here. Noah deleted it. The next morning, there was another. Under the sand. He deleted that one too. The third message arrived at exactly 3:17 a.m. Noah woke to the sound of something scratching beneath his bedroom window. He didn't move. The scratching stopped. His phone lit up. One final message appeared. Summer isn't over. Noah slowly turned toward the window. Outside, beneath the moonlight, his backyard was covered in sand. It hadn't been there yesterday. He stared at it. The sand shifted. Something underneath it moved. And then a small hand pushed to the surface. A child's hand. Pale, wet, waiting. Noah backed away. The phone vibrated again. This time there was no message. There was only a photograph. It showed the beach, the playground, the ocean. And beneath the sand, barely visible through pale grains, hundreds of faces looking upward. All of them had their mouths open, all of them screaming. But Noah couldn't hear them. Not through the phone. Not yet. Then the scratching began again. Only this time, it was coming from beneath his bedroom floor. The end. Whoop, I gotta fix this one. This was saved. Okay. Well, I hope everyone is doing well. That was our. I've been, as I told Vardo before. Once a year, I try to do a thing under the sand story. It is years and years ago I did one, and somebody jacked it and used it to make like one of those B movies. Didn't give me credit for it. I really don't care. But I mean, it was there word for word. And I mean, I could have filed it in court, but I mean, it just wasn't worth it. You know, I can count it up to somebody's, maybe a subscriber or something, got some idea and decided, hey, I'm just going to run with it. That's fine. Um, but I was never truly happy with that version of it. And each year I try to redo it and remodify it and keep working on it. No, not holes. That's a different one. Um, but I know the guy that wrote holes. Yeah. Um, believe it or not. He's got a messed up head. He does. I tell you what though, if you can get everyone together and get them in a room and for them to get along, like maybe 4 or 5 writers, maybe six. I can think of 10 off the top of my head, and you could get them all together. You could really put together one insanely scary series that you know I don't think people could come back from. If they could really get into it. I hate the way Hollywood's set up now. I mean, you have to have somebody standing there with star power to tell a story. And I mean, I understand that you have to be interested in the actor and everything else, but I don't know. There's a lot of stories that were told for certain ways, or I don't know. I got a mic in the way of that thing. I should have moved it. I didn't realize it was there. I'm sorry. And that's gonna fall. But the next one. Have you guys ever went to like one of those um bed and breakfasts, or like you know where you go online and you rent a house and you go out there, and what's it called, like someone's moving behind my head there. I don't know what the fuck that is. That's freaky. Okay, but the God, I was just talking to somebody about it. Not bed and breakfasts. The where you rent online and you go out there, you basically rent somebody's house. What the shit are they called? Ah, I don't know. Anyway, the next story is about a family that rented a cabin, and just be careful about when you rent your vacation homes. I mean, there's some weird people out there. This is one of them, and especially if you go up to West Virginia, for God's sake. Now this one didn't happen in West Virginia. Airbnb, yes, thank you. Like timeshare, Airbnb, stuff like that. Yeah, my mind went blank. I don't know why, but it did. Um, Now this story didn't happen in West Virginia. It happened elsewhere. But it's one to, I don't know. There's some freaky shit that goes on out there. There's a lot of stuff we miss. There's a lot of stuff that stories get told by individuals as they happen to them. There are individuals in mental hospitals because stuff has happened to them, and the only person that hears about it is maybe some reporter or their doctor or whatever, because what they're talking about is so crazy. Um, but anyway, let's talk about the house above the stones. Um, this is one of those that makes me think twice about going on vacation. That in the going out to the beach, but this isn't about a beach. The road to Black Pine Mountain disappeared from the map 37 miles before they reached the cabin. Daniel noticed it first. That's weird. He slowed the SUV, looked down at his phone. The navigation screen showed a thin blue line winding through the mountain. Then, without warning, the line simply ended. No intersection, no warning, just nothing. Beside him, his wife Laura glanced over from the passenger seat. What? The road? What about it? It says we're not on the road anymore. Laura laughed. That's probably because we're in the middle of nowhere. And from the back seat, the 12-year-old Emma leaned forward between the headrests and said, Are we there yet? 20 minutes, Daniel said. You said that 20 minutes ago. I was optimistic. Their son, who liked to be called Kay, he was 16, was wearing headphones, staring through the window. He hadn't spoken much since they left Virginia that morning. The trip had been Laura's idea. 6 weeks in the mountain. No television, no neighbors, no work, no school. Just the four of them in an isolated rental cabin surrounded by forest. Daniel had resisted at first. Then he saw the photographs. The cabin looked perfect. A huge stone fireplace, a wraparound porch, tall pine trees stretched endlessly toward blue mountains, a lake less than a mile away. And the price was strangely low. The listing called it the Willow House, private mountain retreat. 6 bedrooms, 2 baths, generator, well water, wood stove, private hiking trails, no nearby properties. Daniel had assumed the cheap price was because of the location. And then he read the reviews. Most were excellent, beautiful place, peaceful, perfect for families, amazing stars. But several reviews had been deleted. Daniel knew because the rental page showed a strange gap between dates, June 14th, and then nothing until August. July had been missing entirely. When he asked the owner about it, the response was simple. Previous guests violated the property rules. Daniel hadn't asked what that meant. Now, as the SUV climbed higher, he wished he had. The roads narrowed. Trees crowded both sides. The mountain rose around them until the sky became a little more than a blue strip between black-green branches. Kay removed his headphones. Dad? Yeah? Why are there no birds? Daniel looked at him in the rearview mirror. What? Birds. Kay gestured toward the trees. You hear anything? Everyone's quiet. Everyone's become quiet. The engine hummed. The tires rolled over gravel. Nothing else. No birds, no insects, no wind. Even the forest seemed to be holding its breath. Laura smiled uneasy. Maybe they're just higher up. Kay put his headphones back on. Daniel kept driving. 5 minutes later, they saw the first sign. It stood crooked beneath the road. A piece of weathered wood nailed to 2 posts. Black pine. Below it, had painted another message in white. Turn back after dark. Daniel slowed. Emma read it aloud. Turn back after dark. Laura laughed. Cute. Daniel didn't laugh. Someone had painted over an older message. He could still make out the shape of the letters underneath. Do not. And then he couldn't see the rest. The rest was covered in white. Daniel drove on. 20 minutes later, the forest opened. The cabin appeared between the trees. It was enormous. Much larger than the photograph suggested. 2 stories of dark timber and gray stone, with steep roofs and porches wrapping around the front. It looked less like a vacation rental and more like something that had been standing there for generations. A stone chimney rose from the roof. Smoke stains darkened the masonry. The front door was black, and above it, carved into a roof, was a symbol, a circle. Inside it, 3 crooked lines formed something resembling a human figure with its arm raised. Daniel got out. Hold on a minute. Yeah. For a moment, nobody moved. Then Emma whispered, "It's creepy." Laura smiled. "It's rustic." "It's completely rustic." Daniel walked toward the door. The key was beneath the flower pot, exactly where the owner had said. He unlocked it. The door opened. Cold air spilled across the porch. Daniel stopped. The cabin was colder inside than outside. Not slightly colder. Freezing. His breath appeared in the front of him. "That's strange," he said. Laura stepped inside. Maybe they left the air conditioner running. There was no air conditioning. The house smelled of cedar, dust, and something else. Something earthy. Like wet soil. The children followed. The interior was beautiful. Old furniture, antlers, chandeliers, thick rugs. A huge stone fireplace painted on the mountain. A staircase leading upward. And on the far wall above the fireplace hung an enormous wooden carving. It depicted the mountains, and at first glance it seemed ordinary. Then Emma walked closer. "Dad." Daniel turned. "What?" "What's that?" She pointed. Deep inside the carved forest, barely visible among the trees, were dozens of tiny human figures, all standing in circles, all faced inward, and at the center was a black shape. Daniel stared. "I don't know." Clab came closer. "Looks like some kind of ritual." Laura frowned. "Probably local folklore." Daniel looked at the carving again. One of the figures appeared to have its head turned. It was looking directly outward toward him. He blinked. The figure was facing the circles again. He rubbed his eyes. "I'm going to check the bedrooms." That evening they ate on the porch. The mountains turned purple and the sun disappeared. The forest became black. Then the darkness became absolute. There was no distant house lights, no highway, no town, no sounds of civilization, only the mountains. Laura raised her wine glass. 6 weeks of peace. Daniel smiled. To peace. Emma raised her soda. To no Wi-Fi. Slab didn't raise anything. He was staring into the woods. Daniel noticed. "What?" Kay didn't answer. "What are you looking at?" "I thought I saw someone." Everyone turned. A tree stood motionless. Laura sighed. It was probably a deer. Daniel stood. "Where?" Kay pointed. "There." Daniel stared. "Nothing. Stay here." He stepped off the porch. The moment his shoes touched the ground, he heard something. A sound. Deep inside the forest. A single wooden knock. Tuck. Daniel stopped. Then another. Tuck. Then another. Tuck. 3 times. He looked toward the trees. Hello. Nothing. He returned to the porch. Kay was still watching from the forest. "What was it?" Laura asked. "Nothing." "You heard something. Probably a branch." Nobody believed him. That night, Daniel woke at 2:17 a.m. He didn't know why. He simply opened his eyes. The bedroom was dark. Laura was asleep beside him. Moonlight spilled through the curtains, and then he heard it. Tuck. Daniel sat up. Tuck. He waited. Tuck. 3 knocks. Exactly like before. He got out of bed. The sound had come from downstairs. He walked quietly through the hallway. The cabin was completely dark, and then he noticed something. The front door was open. Cold mountain air moved through the house. Daniel stared, distinctly remembered locking it. He walked downstairs. The door stood wide open. Beyond it was a porch. Beyond that, the forest. Something had been carved into the floor directly in front of the doorway. A circle. Inside it were 3 lines, the same symbol above the door. Daniel crouched. He touched it. The wood was wet, not with water, but with something dark. He stood immediate, and then heard breathing behind him, slow, wet, human. Daniel froze. He turned. Nothing. The living room was empty. And then from upstairs came a child's voice. Dad. Daniel's heart stopped. It was Emma. He ran up the stairs. Emma. Her bedroom door was open. She was sitting upright in bed. Her eyes were closed. Emma, she didn't move. Daniel approached. Sweetheart. Her eyes opened. She looked at him. Why were you outside? Daniel frowned. I wasn't. Yes, you were. When? She pointed toward the window before. Daniel looked. The curtains moved gently. Did you see me? Emma nodded. You were standing in the woods. Daniel's stomach tightened. What did I look like? Emma stared at him. You weren't wearing clothes. Daniel swallowed. What? You were naked. She paused. And your skin was white. Daniel didn't breathe. Emma continued. You were smiling. The next morning, Daniel called the owner. No answer. He called again. Nothing. And then he noticed something strange. There was no cellular signal. Not one bar. He tried the landline. Dead. The family decided to leave. They packed quietly. Nobody argued. The SUV started. They drove the mountain road. For 20 minutes, then 30, then 40. Daniel stopped. The same wooden sign appeared. Black Pine. Below it, turn back after dark. Laura stared. No. Daniel turned the car around. They drove in the opposite direction. 10 minutes later, they reached the cabin. Nobody spoke. The road had changed. There had been only one road, and now there were 2. Daniel got out. He looked at the ground. There were tire tracks. Their tire tracks. They had driven in circles. But the circles wasn't possible. Not geographical. Something was wrong with the mountain. They decided to stay inside. By noon, Daniel found the basement. The doors were hidden beneath the rug. In the kitchen, there was a padlock. It was old, rusty. It was already broken. Daniel opened it. A staircase descended into darkness. Laura grabbed his arm. Don't. We need to know what's down there. No. Daniel looked at her. You know what's trapped here, right? She didn't answer. He found a flashlight. Then he descended. The basement smelled like wet earth. The walls weren't made of concrete. They were stone. Ancient stone. The staircase went much deeper than the foundation should have allowed. 10 steps, 20 steps, 30, then 50. Daniel stopped counting, and at the bottom was a chamber. The ceiling was supported by enormous stone pillars. Symbols covered every surface. Human figures, animals, spirals, eyes, and everywhere the same circle. Daniel moved his flashlight across the walls. Then he saw the paintings. They were ancient. People kneeling before something tall, something thin, something with antlers. Its body was human-shaped, but horribly wrong. Its head was elongated. I can't talk right now. Words must be hard. Its mouth stretched across its entire face, and beneath the image were hundreds of small handprints. Some were adults, some were children. Daniel stepped closer. The flashlight flickered. The voice whispered from the darkness, "Welcome home." Daniel spun around. Nothing. Then he saw an altar, a massive, flat stone set in the center of a chamber. Dark stains covered it. Around it was dozens of bowls. Inside them were teeth, hundreds of teeth, human teeth. Behind the altar stood a stone statue. Daniel raised his flashlight. He almost dropped it. The statue had no face, only a mouth, a huge carved mouth. And inside that mouth were real human teeth, fresh ones. Daniel backed away. His foot struck something. A skull rolled across the floor. He looked down. The skull had been split open. Inside was a small wooden object, a child's toy, a carved horse. Daniel recognized it. It belonged to Emma. He ran upstairs. The children were gone. Laura was standing in the living room alone. Where are they? She looked at him. Her expression was strangely calm. They're outside. Daniel grabbed her shoulders. Why would you let them go outside? Laura stared at him. They wanted to see the mountain. You knew. She began crying. I didn't know. Then she whispered, they came last night. Daniel froze. Who? The people from the mountain. How many? I don't know. Where were they? She pointed toward the windows. Daniel looked. People stood among the trees, dozens of them, men, women, children, all wearing white clothing, all staring at the cabin. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. And then one woman stepped forward. She was old. Her face was deeply wrinkled. A smile. She raised one hand. The others did the same. Dozens of hands rose together. Then the old woman pointed toward the cabin. Every person began walking forward. Laura whispered, they want us. Daniel locked the doors. She pushed furniture against them. He pulled the curtains, and then he heard singing, low, slow, ancient. The entire mountain seemed to join them. The walls vibrated, the floors trembled, and beneath the cabin something knocked. Tock, tock, tock. Daniel looked at Laura. 3 knocks, then silence. A voice came through the floor. His daughter's voice. Dad. Daniel covered his mouth. Dad, please. Emma. She was beneath them. Dad, I'm scared. Daniel started toward the basement. Laura grabbed him. No. She's down there. No. Let go, Laura screamed. That isn't Emma. The voice beneath the floor giggled, and then it changed. It became Kay. Dad. Daniel stopped. I lost my track of thought here. Then his own voice. Daniel, something that sounded like all of them speaking together. Let us in. The cabin shook. Dust fell from the ceilings. Outside, the chanting grew louder. The old woman began walking toward the front door. She stopped inches away, then smiled through the glass. Then she spoke. We have kept the mountain asleep for 300 years. Daniel stared at her. She placed her palm against the window. You built your vacation home over its mouth. The floor beneath them moves. Not shook, moved. Then something underneath it had breathed. Daniel looked down. The wooden boards rose and fell. It rose and fell, rise and fall. The cabin was breathing. It was alive. Laura whispered, Oh God. The old woman smiled, not God. The floor split open. A black crack appeared across the living room. From beneath it came the smell of rot. And then something pushed through, a finger, long, gray, jointed in too many places. It curled around the floorboards. And then another appeared, and a woman outside began laughing. The cult members dropped to their knees. The chanting stopped. The entire mountain became silent. And then the thing beneath the cabin spoke. not loudly. It didn't need to. The voice was inside their heads. I have been hungry. The lights went out. Daniel grabbed Laura. They ran upstairs. The hallway seemed longer than before. Doors appeared where they had been walls. The cabin was changing. They ran past rooms that they had never seen. And one door stood open. Inside was a basement. Another door opened into a forest. Another revealed a kitchen. And another a stone chamber. Then Daniel heard footsteps. Behind them, slow, wet. He turned. Something stood at the edge of the hallway. Tall. Too tall. Its head nearly touched the ceiling. Antlers scraped the plaster. The plaster would fall onto the floor. Its body was covered in pale, stretched skin. Its face was nothing but a mouth. And inside that mouth were hundreds of human teeth. Daniel pulled Laura into the bedroom. They slammed the door. Their children gone. The creature stopped outside. Silence, then tock. A knock. Daniel looked at Laura. Another knock. And then a third knock. The door opened by itself, but the hallway was empty. Daniel stepped forward. The creature was gone. Then they heard screaming outside. Their children. Daniel ran to the window. Below them in the clearing, Emma and Kay stood among the cult members. They were alive, but they were holding hands. The children looked toward the cabin. Emma smiled. Daniel nearly collapsed. She raised one finger to her lips, and then she mouthed, "Don't come down." The cult parted. Something walked between them. The creature. It moved slowly toward the children. Daniel screamed, "Run!" Emma didn't move. Neither did Kay. The old woman stepped beside them. She looked up at Daniel, and then she pointed toward the mountain. A crack had appeared into the earth. It stretched from the cabin to the forest, and beneath the mountain, something enormous was waking. The entire ridge moved. Trees bent. Rocks rolled. The ground rose. And then the mountain opened. Not like an earthquake, like an eye. A gigantic black opening appearing beneath the trees. Inside, it was darkness, and something was looking out. Daniel realized that what the temple had been built for. It wasn't a temple. It was a prison. The cabin was built on top of it by accident. The cabin was the lock. And the family hadn't rented the cabin. They had been invited. The old women raised both hands. The cult began chanting. The creature opened its mouth, and Daniel heard his daughter's voice come from inside it. "Dad." The thing smiled. "We've been waiting for you." The cabin's door slammed shut. Every window shattered. Oh, okay. Sorry, guys. Somebody disconnected me. I don't know where we stopped. Um, I'm sorry. The creature opened its mouth, and Daniel heard his daughter's voice coming from inside it. "Dad." The thing smiled. "We've been waiting for you." The cabin's door slammed shut. Every window shattered. And somewhere beneath the floor, an ancient heartbeat began. Once, twice, 3 times. Then thousands of voices whispered together, and beneath the mountain, summer had begun. That's the end. I am glad that happened right there. Sorry, something cut it off. Um, my bad. I'm sorry. um, anyway, I don't think you missed much. I was going on. I wasn't paying attention. But you might want to pick it up on the auto reader. I felt like I was getting tired there. But anyway, I wanted to throw this out there. If you listen to both stories, you might notice a theme. Um, Something's waking up. Um, okay, good. But yeah, something's waking up. You know, something with a mouth and teeth. Something ancient and old. Something pagan. Something hungry. But anyway, thank you guys for being with me tonight. And I'll upload the auto readers here soon. And please join me tomorrow. I think you will find that very interesting. Stay paranoid, my friends. Good night. Sleep well. Don't let the bed bugs bite. And if they do, hit them with a bat. I got to figure out what everybody's trying to get in touch with me about. Thank you, guys. Thank you. 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 Yeah.